All right, so
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Anyway, yeah, I spilled a little bit. It's crazy, you know. I spilled a little bit right before we got started with the show. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? But this is not going to be a super long show. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. There has been a lot of stuff that's been going on overseas and all that. But at the same time, man, oh man. There's some things that are being weird right now. In my personal opinion, there's some weird stuff going on. And I did a short a little bit earlier. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, what in the F is actually going on here. I'm trying to figure out what are we getting messed with? Like, what's really going on here? Okay, because obviously there's a war going on. We already know that there's a war going on in Iran and in the Middle East, basically. And Trump just gave us a whole bunch of stuff, and now it's like. But he's saying one thing, but he's doing something completely different. And then, of course, we're hearing, the likes of Pete Hegseth saying something. But then we hear Trump say something completely different. So I'm a little confused. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm the only one that's a little confused right now, because to me, it sounds like nothing's slowing down. Things are escalating even more, and the war ain't over anytime soon. But I could be wrong. We're going to talk about that. And then some. Oh, and I'll say it a little bit. I'll say it in a little bit. Promise I will. Okay? So here's the thing. Do me a favor. Before we get into everything, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right? Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are looking at and watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Okay, be sure to subscribe right here on this channel, please. We talk about a lot of stuff. We cover a lot of stuff on this show. Right now, we are very focused on what's going on in the Middle East, because that matters too. So please, if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button. Of course, hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really good stuff over there. Go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. Okay. We have got to get into some things, all right? There's a lot of weird things that have been going on over the past couple of hours. First and foremost, Trump finally had a press conference in front of people. He finally had a press conference in front of press, in front of media. And then Trump finally found out that we are all kind of smarter than the average bear. That media is not really playing. Media's pretty much on top of everything and is like, wait a second, you're saying one thing here, but we're hearing something else somewhere else. And we hear that you're saying different things about other situations differently than what you're saying right here on camera. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are thinking that maybe this has to do with the market right now. The market opened up pretty damn low. All right. It's Monday. It started pretty damn low. And then suddenly out of nowhere, in his press conference, he goes, oh, everything's going to be fine. We're ending this thing soon. It's going to be over. It's going to be over very, very soon. In fact, you'd be surprised how quickly it's going to be over. But then later on, he ramps up bombing in Iran. Very, very interesting. Now, here's the thing. Do I think we're going to lose this war? Probably not. Probably not. But at the same time, did we need this war? I'll tell you no. He claims in his press conference during the speech before he did questions, he did basically say, yo, you guys don't realize that we were weeks away from getting attacked by Iran. Weeks away from getting attacked by Iran. That's what he said. Now, we just have to take his word for it now, right? That's basically what we have to do. Because we don't have any proof of that. Clearly, America went over there, dropped bombs, went in hard on Iran. And now we're in the situation that we're in right now. Right? You're right, Muse. He demanded unconditional surrender. He put out a Truth Social post and he said, we are not going to back down. We are not going to work out any deals. He said, no deals. What we want is complete and unconditional surrender. So does he think that there's going to be complete and unconditional surrender happening anytime soon? Because he says their Navy is down, their communications are down, their defenses are down, they're screwed. He basically said that. It's a wrap for Iran. But Iran seems to be saying we ain't stopping until we get revenge or something of that sort. They're not playing. They're not playing at all. My bad. I forgot to take down the PascalMerch.com. But that's a little weird, don't you think? He's like, oh yeah, we're doing just fine. It's gonna be a wrap here any minute now. It's gonna be ending very soon, guys. Very soon. I just had a conversation with Putin. I mean, I told him he needs to be focused on wrapping up the war with Ukraine. That's what he should be focusing on. He shouldn't be focusing on me. He shouldn't be focusing on what's going on in the Middle East. But he still, called up and said he was willing to offer some help. Say what? Why willing to offer help when he's helping Iran right now? He's offering intelligence to Iran. So what, he's just going to help both sides? That makes no sense now, does it? Oh, and here's the other thing. When it comes to Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei, okay, he hasn't stopped. They haven't taken him down as far as him being the new supreme leader. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon unless they put a fatwa or some sort of hit on his head. That's it. There's no way that Iran is going to turn to Trump or allies and say, yep, here you go. Oh, you don't want him? Oh, okay, bet. But okay, sorry, Mujtaba. You gotta sit down. I know you're his son. I know, we know, but we need peace. That's not going to happen anytime soon. You realize that, right? Not going to happen anytime soon. So there's just some weird things going on here. Then the other thing too, he lied. Trump lied to us again. I'm sorry, but it's a lie. Even his most devoted allies, at least as far as like media goes and these pundits and whatnot, even they are starting to speak out against the things that Trump has said as of late. Remember when America first struck Iran and there was a school filled with a whole bunch of girls, an elementary school, full of girls that all lost their lives due to a bombing that happened in their school. Over 175 individuals, including a bunch of girls, young girls, lost their lives, right? Well, they even asked him questions about whether or not this tomahawk, because you can see it clear as day in the video, which we talked about last night. You can see it clear as day that this tomahawk was not an Iranian tomahawk, that it was indeed an American missile. He said one thing on Air Force One, and now he's saying something completely different. In fact, he tries to walk it back so hard, he almost tripped on himself. Real talk. Because now he's trying to take back, in a way, what he said on Air Force One. Don't worry, we got the receipts. We're going to look at that again, too. Okay? But first, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this press conference that just happened a few hours ago. Okay, not the full press conference. We're just going to take a look at a segment of the actual questions that were done by media. Because I feel like I'm sure y'all have already seen it, the press conference. And he's basically saying, like, we're kicking ass and taking names. We're seriously doing it. We're doing it, America. And Iran is screwed. Okay, they can't tell from the ass to the elbow anymore. They've been rocked that bad. Okay, but he's also sitting there saying, like, hey, the war is going to be over soon. This will all be over. So these numbers, these oil prices per barrel, don't fret, everybody. It's just a random bump. It's gonna change. Why is he doing all that? Because the market plummeted today. But as soon as he did this presser and he said, the war is going to be over, guys, mark my words, the market went back up again. You can't make this up, y'all. You can't make this up. You just look at the numbers, look at the moments. It's just a very interesting situation that he would sit there and say that the war is going to be over here soon, but then he's escalating bombing overseas. And other countries are starting to mobilize as well. I forgot this other thing too. Yeah, he's talking about taking over the Strait of Hormuz. That's a very, very big deal. Do you understand? How are you going to take over a whole thing of water? So he's just going to take over Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz. Just take it. And you really think that Iranians and the other neighboring countries are just going to be like, oh, yeah, here are the keys to the car, man. Yeah. Just, you just taking it. So just be good to her, okay? She only takes 95. She takes 93 unleaded, all right? She gets a little shaky at 60 miles an hour, okay? But once you get past that, you're good, all right? But be nice to her now. Enjoy that beautiful car. It's not going to happen. They're not going to hand over the keys to the car like that. Are you insane? So peace is coming and the war is going to be over. But you mean to tell me that you're going to take over the Strait of Hormuz without a hitch? Okay. All right. Okay. There's something called hubris. Hubris. Okay? Hubris? Much? Oh, Donnie boy? Yeah, he might be talking out his ass. I mean, he clearly must be. Because he's trying to make sure that the markets don't lose their freaking minds. Because if the markets go, oh, damn, we're going to be in this forever, the markets are going to plummet even more. If they start seeing that barrels of oil hit, 115, okay? They're not going to be happy about that. Market will plummet. Market will go down again. But he's saying whatever he can because he's trying to do as much damage control so that the market doesn't self-implode. We are living in a wild time. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this interview or this press conference. We got some things to look through.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think so.
Okay, and with respect
Very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership.
No disrespect, but their leadership, they just got in a new guy. They just got a new guy. Did they not? Mujtaba, his son. So as much as he says, oh yeah, this war is going to be over very soon. They don't have leadership. Oh, their defense is down, etc. It doesn't seem like that. Seems like they're still shooting out missiles every night, overnight, during the day, etc. So how true is this? Now, I get being positive. Don't get me wrong. I get having a positive outlook on situations, but are we sure are we sure he's on point? Like, come on now. This is a little insane.
In fact, there are two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone.
Sure.
Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So,
but now we should be worried about Mujtaba. Okay? Now we need to be worrying about the son of Ali Khamenei. That's who we should be worried about. Am I right or am I right? You really think his son is going to lay down without a fight? I'm sorry. Unless he is literally beaten to submission, then that makes sense. But he has to be beaten into submission. Like, his whole country has to be destroyed. Okay? I just don't see the likes of the Ayatollah's son looking at this situation and going, yeah, go ahead. No, we quit. No, there's no way. Yeah, Mustafa got plans, baby. Okay? Mustafa got plans, baby. He got plans. Okay? And I'm sure he's going to go and here's the other thing too. You don't think that they're going to play dirty? Yeah, we surrender. We surrender. And then as we come in, they just completely just annihilate us. Come on now. How much of this are we sure is real or not? And like I said, I get it. He does what I get it. I'm not sitting here saying that I condone this, but I get it. He's trying everything he can to make it look like we are on top of things and that we are impenetrable and we are perfect. But in actuality, I don't think that they even know what the hell they're doing too. I think they're flying blind at this point. I think what he believed it was going to be a huge reaction. Like first they bombed Iran and Iran was going to cower in fear. and we were going to stand on top of that mountain with Israel and go, ha, 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 I told you. You know what I mean? But that didn't happen. We're now day 10, basically walking into day 11 right now. We about to go beyond the 12-day war here very soon. Give it one more day, and we will be beyond the 12-day war. So as much as he says, and he talks this big game, I don't know about all that. Iran is still out there pumping. They still out there reacting. They still out there dropping missiles. That is a huge problem to me.
It's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
To Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that, and why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban-American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. Mm-hmm. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah.
Hold on. We got to talk about that. Let me just drop some knowledge into your brains, love. Cuba has been completely cut off. That's absolutely true. Trump is now saying it out loud on the mic. I'm sure he said it earlier in the other press conference that he had just a little bit ago, okay, where he seemed like he was having a grand old time up there on the mic as usual. But here's the thing. Cuba has been cut off. But here's the thing. Let me just add on top of it. This is the Cuban people that have been cut off. It's not just the government. It's not just the leaders. It's also the people of Cuba that have been cut off, that are suffering. See, this is the thing. There's a lot of really great Cubans out there in Cuba. I agree. There's a lot of great Iranians out there in this world, okay? That should not automatically mean that the people of Cuba should suffer or the people of Iran should suffer. You see what I'm saying? The people of, like, let's just say we were in war with Russia, right? Or think of the most diabolical group of people we can think of, or, country we can think of. The people there are still good people. It's just the regime. It's the government. It is the leadership that they have that should be suffering, not the people. So when you cut off energy, you cut off oil, you cut off trade, goods, etc. to a country, you're not only hurting the leadership, you're hurting the people of that country as well. That is a big problem. That's a big problem. So Venezuela, because now it is not Maduro, it's the vice president that has now moved into in as the president of Venezuela, is now bending at Trump's will. And they're like, hey, Cuba has done very bad things to a lot of people, so let's cut off their energy. Let's cut off their funds. Let's cut off the connections that you guys have. Let's cut that all off and let them basically suffer, starve. That is actually happening in Cuba right now. Unless Marco Polo Rubio goes over there and does something about it sooner rather than later. But I'm going to tell you right now, does anybody remember Bay of Pigs? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's continue, though.
Please, go ahead.
There's footage that shows that an American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for that
haven't
strike?
seen it. And
Here
I
we
will
go.
say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries. You know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now.
Huh? What? We're gonna come back to that in a second. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Let's finish the rest because at the end, another guy doubles down on that question and he goes in, and it's a great question. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big Navy, very powerful Navy. These were ships. These were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off the ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufactured the drones are under fire as we speak. They're being hit. So the rest is going to be determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you.
Now to the view from the Iranian government. Earlier today, I spoke with Iran's
Hold on. There's more. There's more right here. I want us all to hear these. Hold on.
President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Remember what was just said. Okay? Remember what was just said.
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
We think it was done. We think it was done by Iran.
Can you give us an
Because
idea?
they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
Mr. President, did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. on the first day of the war and kill 175
No, in my
people?
opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. Are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the
Wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's some
Why are you the only person saying this?
because I just don't know enough about it. I think
Person saying this.
because I just don't know enough about it. I in my
People?
opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
This. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us.
So from what we understand, first and foremost, he was on Air Force One, okay? During that gaggle, he literally said, from what I've gathered, it was Iran. And I keep playing it over and over again because this is important. Now, reports are coming back saying that this was an American missile that did hit that school. There are pundits that are MAGites, MAGA, hardcore MAGA, okay? Super MAGA, all right? Trump could do no wrong. He is the second coming of Christ, for crying out loud, to some of these guys. Whatever he says is mother-loving scripture. He could do no wrong. He does not make any mistakes. But now these individuals, some of them, of the likes of, like, what's her name? I forgot her name. But big time Fox News pundit, okay, is literally making tweets saying that what he's saying is completely out of pocket. Completely out of pocket. Real talk. Because one moment he says, yep, it's Iran. He doubled down in that first video on the plane. He said, it was Iran. Iran is terrible. It was Iran. Do you see how reckless that is? The same thing that happened to Alex Preddy is the same thing that we're hearing about. They're putting blame on somebody else when it was clearly America that made that mistake. It was a miscalculation. It was a misfire, whatever you want to call it. It was a mistake. I would hope to God that it's a mistake and that America did not mentally say, yeah, let's just take out a school full of civilians, full of young girls. That's a great idea, right? You would hope it's a mistake, but they're not even willing to take the L, take responsibility and the accountability for the situation. All they're doing is they keep on pushing it and say, no. Well, you know, tomahawks are very, very much the thing, you know. Tomahawks are very much the thing for everywhere. It's a common missile. From what we understand, Iran does not own any tomahawks. But let me play that clip one more time for you guys.
The war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Now he's willing to live with that report, but he said out loud, he literally said out loud that it was done by Iran. He instantly said, based on what I've gathered, it came from Iran. Then Pete Hegseth goes, we're still investigating. But the evildoers, the real evildoers that would do something like that to civilians would be Iran. And then he said, yeah, that's very true. They're very bad people, but, or they got a very bad leadership. But it was Iran that did that, right? Okay. Well, here's some more information on this, just so you know. Just some information. First off, underneath, it says the video appears to show a Tomahawk missile, okay, likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. Will the U.S. accept any responsibility? He said, oh, it's sold. This Tomahawk is sold and used by other countries. It's a very common missile, right? Well, the Tomahawk is manufactured by only one company, Raytheon. And if the Islamic Republic possesses them, it means they either obtained them illegally, which would be a scandal of epic proportions, or purchased them under a State Department export license, which has not happened. Now, let's just put this possibility out here really quick. Yes, there is a possibility, that a very thin possibility, that Iran obtains some Tomahawks. Sure, it's possible. But would they really actually take aim on their own school filled with girls, filled with kids? Think about it. Sure, Pete Hegseth said, oh, the only country that is bad that would actually try to take their own people out are Iranians. We're hearing that from Pete Hegseth. It's hard to fully believe the source when the source is someone who is not fully 110% transparent with the American people. I feel like everything that is being said nowadays, ever since Epstein, I'm sorry, guys, but ever since Epstein, it should automatically be, kind of like you pump the brakes a little bit when you hear information. Is this true? Is this 100%? No. Like, again, there's a deeper meaning, a deeper reason on why Trump was doing this press conference. There was a deeper reason for this. Had nothing to do with like, okay, let's calm the American people. No, he wanted to calm the markets so that the markets wouldn't lose their doggone minds and keep plummeting, because they could. They could very well plummet so bad because of what's going on out there. He also said he wants to take control of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, why do you think he wants to take control of the Strait of Hormuz? You got to understand, the world markets, et cetera, they're listening to that. And they're going, oh, well, if he takes it over, then everything will be fine. Everything, 20% of our oil, of the world's oil, won't be squeezed off anymore. So everything's just going to be fine. But in actuality, it's not fine. It's not. According to CNN, this is what they said. But it's clear tonight, long after the markets have formally closed, that Trump, at least for now, does not have an intention of ramping up the war, ramping the war down. I'm sorry. In fact, CNN is learning this hour, so just a little bit ago, that the Trump administration is considering a highly complex and risky operation to retrieve Iran's known highly enriched uranium. So they're planning on going and taking uranium. They're planning a statewide B&E, a breaking and entering. What in the F? You mean to tell me? He says, yes, everything's going to be fine. We're going to make everything cool. The war is slowing down. Nothing's going to get crazy. American people, everyone chill, tranquilo, chill. Tranquilo, por favor. But now we're going to go and steal their uranium. What? What?
So we're going to go further and decisively defeating the enemy, whatever it takes. But 3 hours ago, he told CBS News, quote, "I think the war is very complete, pretty much." Well, that statement posted by CBS correspondent Weijia Yang was at 3:16 p.m. Well, President Donald Trump knows the timing of that very well. At 3:17 p.m., the Dow Jones Industrial Average shot up, major recovery. Oil went down. Until then, of course, there had been fear, frankly, overnight in the oil market, panic. Oil had gone well above $100 a barrel. It was absolutely incredible what we witnessed. It was at the highest in 4 years. There was worry and fear and panic, as I said, about a global economic catastrophe. But it is clear tonight, long after the markets have formally closed, that Trump, at least for now, does not have an intention of ramping the war down. In fact, CNN is learning this hour that the Trump administration is considering a highly complex and risky operation to retrieve Iran's known highly enriched uranium. Now, that would be a massive mission. That would require boots on the ground. It would require significant forces, special forces, and it would put a significant number of American ground troops in harm's way. Robert Kelly is a former chief nuclear inspector for the IAEA. He told Outfront that the United States, in his view, probably doesn't even really have a clue where that uranium is.
Hold on.
He said, quote, "It can be split up into so many batches, so it's probably not all in one place. Seems like a script for a suicide mission with little chance of success."
Remember George W.? Remember George W. and his WMGs? You remember that? Are we back in the 90s again? Or like the early 2000s again? I'm sorry. Are we back to that again? Yeah. So the guy's like, yeah, I don't think they'd be that dumb to have all the uranium in one spot, but they might have things in many places. And damn, bruh, but this would be like, yeah. You're basically doing a kamikaze. These guys ain't coming back if they're trying to get this. You understand how many times? You see what I'm saying? Can you imagine the amount of times that they would have to go out there if it's split up in many batches? How many operations would have to be done to get every bit of uranium from Iran? It is absolutely a mission. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. This is Quiet Storm. This is not going to, none of this stuff is going to, it's going to be stuffed up in some sort of mountain somewhere, in multiple mountains, in various areas. Where would we be able to find all that? Do you realize this would be like, again, going out there and trying to find them WMDs all over again. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay? Imagine small batches of uranium strewn throughout the country. They could be anywhere. Stuff could be anywhere. He said, hey, we're slowing it down. We're going to bring peace in the Middle East again. Because, wasn't there peace in the Middle East like several months ago? And now we got full-on war all over again, right? But then the market, as you saw earlier, had skyrocketed, right? It was pretty high. I think we all can agree on that. That ish was high. Oil prices were absolutely insane. And then as soon as he said, oh yeah, everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Let's just do it. Prices started to drop again. Then he goes back and now he's potentially, allegedly, planning to put some sort of operation together so that he can get his hands on the uranium and get it out of the clutches of Iran. Again, you really think if it is a successful operation, you really think Iran is going to be okay with that? Come on, guys. Like, you got Mojtaba basically saying like, you killed my dad, You killed my boo thing. You killed my sister. You took out my whole entire family and some of my friends. And now you taking my loot? Oh, hell no. Hold my ish. Hold all of my ish. Give me that Vaseline real quick. Trump, you really think that he's just going to sit there and just be like, cool, go ahead. Take it. I don't need that uranium. Shoot. I don't need that uranium. We good. Are you out your damn mind? Just telling you, it's not that simple. And there are people out here that are like so hype about freaking nothing. It's a whole bunch of hot air that we keep seeing. It's a bunch of hot air, y'all. At some point, we got to look at it and go, okay, this is, they just straight bull-faced lying. Here we go.
The Pentagon issuing a direct warning to the Iranian people, stay home. The U.S. says the regime is operating from heavily populated civilian areas, putting innocent lives at grave risk. The U.S. now confirming the death of a 7th service member from Operation Epic Fury. Our chief national security correspondent, Jennifer Griffin, with more now here in Washington. Jennifer?
John, most American service members killed and injured since the start of this operation were hit by Iranian missiles in the first weekend of the strikes as part of Iran's first round of response, we're told. Sergeant Benjamin N. Pennington, 26, of Glendale, Kentucky, died March 8th from injuries sustained on March 1st at Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. He was assigned to 1st Space Battalion out of Fort Carson, Colorado. Soon he will be returned home to Dover, met by Vice President J.D. Vance. Sergeant Pennington was in the process of being transferred to Landstuhl, Germany for further care when he succumbed to his catastrophic injuries. 8 additional U.S. service members are currently fighting for their lives at U.S. military hospitals. Earlier today, a second Iranian ballistic missile was intercepted over Turkey, where the U.S. has a key base at Incirlik. Amidst reports, the Russians are providing targeting intelligence to Iran.
Are you receiving any help from Russia?
Well, we have a strategic partnership with Russia.
So that's a yes?
And well, a military cooperation between Iran and Russia is not something new. It's not a secret. It has been in the past and is still there and will continue in the future.
Last night, Secretary Hegseth spoke to 60 Minutes.
Does this put U.S. personnel in any more danger than they otherwise would be?
Well,
the Russian involvement.
No one's putting us in danger. We're putting the other guys in danger. That's our job. So we're not concerned about that. We mitigate it as we need to. Our commanders factor all of this, but the only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live.
Separately, CENTCOM issued a warning to Iranians to stay home and away from crowded areas like markets or funerals or schools because the IRGC is placing mobile missile launchers and one-way attack drones amidst the crowds, knowing the U.S. is likely to strike back, causing civilian deaths, which would be a propaganda win for the regime. John?
All right, we'll keep watching it all unfold.
Iranian capital has seen better days after being shrouded in a cloud of thick, toxic smoke Saturday when 30 Iranian fuel depots were hit by the Israelis. It looked like the sky was on fire.
It's an absolutely apocalyptic scene here. We've just made it to the Shahran oil depot, which was attacked last night in a massive wave of airstrikes. We heard those going on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, with massive thuds and then explosions that we could hear. And you can see that thick black smoke through the entire city across all of Tehran. It's been raining this morning in Tehran. There was oil mixed into the rain. So this is definitely a massive incident that is still going on.
We've been at war for a little over a week, and Operation Epic Fury is taking a major toll on the enemy. Iranian missile and drone launches are down around 90%. In the beginning of the war, the regime was firing off well over 100 drones a day at their neighbor. Now, just 18 drones. And we're hitting their drone manufacturing hubs. Plus, their navy's almost non-existent. 51 Iranian ships are at the bottom of the Gulf.
In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We're going to use it. Why did we sink them? He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, They like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says it could get so much worse.
What was the Iranian Navy is largely no more. There'll be more boats to be sunk, for sure. So their ability to project any...
I want to point this out. Just because the boats are down, okay, just because they sink all the boats does not mean we haven't gone, okay, we're never going to know what they're capable of doing until troops are actually boots on the ground on Iranian soil. Let me just say that really quick. Sure, you can wipe out the entire Navy. You can wipe out all their boats. But there's a whole lot going on in those mountains. So are we sure that just because you sunk their battleships that they aren't ready over there? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you want to come through? That's fine. You took out our boats, fine. You know, but we could definitely get scrappy up here in these mountains, no problem. You see what I'm saying? So we could, you know, they could be all proud and happy about this, but are we sure? Are we sure that's it? We're all on the outside. We're flying around. And trust me, we're destroying them. I've seen some footage. Oh my God. These boats are just completely just whoosh in the ocean, right? Yes, they're definitely, you know, in the bottom of the sea. Okay. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea, and Iranian warships, you know what I'm saying, in the bottom of the sea. Okay. Seriously. Sunken boats in the hole in the bottom of the sea. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows that song. Okay. Nobody knows that song. But you know, what if we were to get on that on the road? Like right there on the land. You see what I'm saying? Sink the battleships by all means. But does that mean the war is won? Questions.
Power in that area in a naval sense is diminishing and will be increasingly diminished. Again, what I want your viewers to understand is this is only just the beginning.
The mullahs are battered and scattered, and there's mass confusion in the ranks. Deputy commanders are fighting without receiving any orders and without any intelligence or radar. Some officers are abandoning their posts. Others are promising to fight to the very end. But Trump says the goal is unconditional surrender, and this is what it'll look like.
It's where they cry uncle, or when they can't fight any longer, there's nobody around to cry uncle.
The mother of all bombers hasn't even joined the fight. The Bone Bomber, a B-52 capable of carrying 70,000 pounds of explosives, just waiting in a British airbase ready to take off. The president says there are targets in Iran that if we hit them, it would be so devastating that it would take them years to rebuild. But we haven't hit them because we're waiting to see if they come to their senses.
But we can be clear with the American people that this is not a fair fight, and that's on purpose. Our capabilities are overwhelming compared to what Iran's are. It means we're fighting to win. It means we set the terms. We'll know when they're not capable of fighting. There'll be a point where they'll have no choice but to do that. Whether they know it or not, they will be combat ineffective. They will surrender.
Now there's a new addition to America's Most Wanted, the Ayatollah's son. They just named Khomeini Jr. the new supreme leader. He's a hardliner just like his dad, and he wants revenge. His whole family's been killed, and he doesn't feel like surrendering.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be in Iran?
Well,
with
I don't
another
want to say that, but you know, I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Very diplomatic by the president, but in reality, the Israelis probably won't let little Ayatollah live much longer. Ayatollah Jr. has gone into hiding. They stashed him away deep in an Iranian cave. And before this, his dad, who is now dead, was really cocky.
They said we have the inalienable right to enrich. They bragged about having 60% enriched fuel, enough for 11 bombs. They told me and Jared, we're not going to give you diplomatically what you couldn't take militarily. So, you know, I think they're going to need a change of attitude.
Let me just say this really quick. I really don't think that we're going to see Iran come to their senses anytime soon. At least the leadership. Okay, obviously the Iranian people, there are a lot of people that are rejoicing that that the Ayatollah was that he was taken out. A lot of people are very, very happy about that, and I'm not knocking the people, the people of Iran. But as far as leadership, I don't see them going out here and surrendering anytime soon. So again, if they're sitting there going, these B-2 bombers that they got sitting literally at a base, at a air base in Great Britain, and they're just waiting for them to come to their senses, I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon. As much as I keep saying it like a broken record, they are pissed off. There is no way unless something miraculous happens. And I just don't see that happening anytime soon. I really think that Junior is angry and he is going to try to use everything in his power to exact his revenge. You got to remember, you never know. Maybe Papa Ayatollah, okay, Papa Senior, maybe he was a butthole. Maybe he was a really bad dad. He didn't go to his baseball games. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, he didn't. Maybe he wanted to be a concert flautist, and Ayatollah was like, "No, you will be tyrant like me," right? And he's like, "I just want to go and play the flute, Dad. I want to express myself." And he just wouldn't want it, right? So maybe Ayatollah Senior is a butthole, okay? And maybe he's like, okay, you know what? It's good that he's gone. I didn't like his ass anyway. I'm supposed to be a concert flautist right now, right? But they took out his own boo thing. His own boo thing. His wife and his brother. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he wanted to be, like Ayatollah Senior was a butthole. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter, guys. Doesn't matter. You took out his own wife. You think he's going to be okay with that? His forever person, right? Probably mother of his children, okay? You think he's going to be okay with that? I just don't see him coming to his senses. I don't see him laying back and chilling out and be like, you know what? Okay, you're right. We've been overreacting a little bit. We just need to kind of have a woosah moment, have a little come to Jesus, or actually in his case, come to Allah moment. Okay, so we gonna be cool. We gonna be all right. Okay, America, let's work this out. No, it's not gonna happen. Revenge plot has already started. The revenge arc has commenced. You understand? So waiting for them to come to their senses is a waste of time. It truly is.
President also telling Fox that Iran had 1,200 missiles pointed right at their neighbors. This is what he said just moments ago. Listen.
They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit. They had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
Now that their missile production capabilities are being demolished, the president says, don't expect this to be a forever war.
We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right? Amazing. How good? Short-term.
Okay, now I'm also hearing something else here, and I don't know if this is entirely true, but I'm hearing word on the street, at least this is what's going on in the internet grapevine. They're saying Bibi Netanyahu's brother was killed today. Is that true? Is that true? I'm sorry for the left turn, but I'm seeing it over here. I'm looking at this information that people are saying on the internet, online. Bibi Netanyahu's brother just lost his life due to a strike. Apparently, there was a missile strike, at the Netanyahu's family home. Reports are coming in that Netanyahu's brother, Ido Netanyahu, is this true? Has lost his life after an Iranian missile strike targeted Netanyahu's family home. What in the F is going on? If that's true, that's insane. But there are reports saying that. We're going to look at that in a second, okay? Like I said, the brother, not Bibi Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu's brother. They're saying his brother lost his life. But you know how close to home that is. You know exactly how close to home that is, right? Is that true? It's hard to believe anything nowadays because there's so much crap out there and there's so much misinformation out here too. But okay, let's continue this.
Military, right? Amazing. How good? Short term. Short term.
He was asked, how short?
Mr. President, on Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you
but
talking
soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very soon.
The Iranians are running out of cards. Their plan has been to hunker down and wage economic warfare on their neighbors, raising the costs to the alliance. They've been attacking oil infrastructure and hit 3 tankers that closed down the strait, sent oil prices to $119 a barrel.
119,
the
damn.
coalition and hurt the president's people back at the pump at home. But over the weekend, Trump told the oil tankers to show some guts and start sailing. He promised to protect the strait with the U.S. Navy and U.S. insurance backstops. That loosened things up a little.
The plan is to get oil and natural gas and fertilizer and all the products from the Gulf flowing through the straits before too long. And I may break a little news here, but one large tanker has already gone through the straits with no issues at all.
Ships started crossing the strait. They've been shutting off their transponders to go through undetected. Remember, Iran's flying blind, so they can barely see the ships right off their coastline. The market opened down big, but then
I'm sorry to put this a little bit of pushback. Okay, we got to put some reality in here. There's only going to be so long that they can fly under the radar, okay, or sail without getting detected until they actually get detected. You see what I'm saying? So, I hope all the people who are, all the tankers, all these big ships that are going back and forth and all that are just literally getting by the skin of their teeth. I hope that they continue to do so and, continue to be safe and all that. But this luck can only run for so long until Iran gets savvy to it or something else. You see what I'm saying?
closed well up for the day. Crude oil dropping down to $85 a barrel. Trump's warning the regime remnants, don't touch the oil.
We're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level.
Iran needs the Strait open just as much as we do. Iran gets all their revenue from oil exports. When that strait's closed, they're not getting paid, and the country can't keep the lights on. Once the strait fully reopens and the U.S. Navy controls the traffic and Iran's missiles and drones are fully neutralized, oil is expected to drop down to $50 a barrel. That starves Putin's war machine, and he'll be under pressure to sign a treaty with Ukraine. Putin sees the writing on the wall. He had a phone call with Trump today to talk about a truce. If Trump can end the Iran war and the Ukraine war, it's going to send prices on everything way down. And when his pick for Fed chair gets in this spring and cuts rates, and we get our record tax returns, and the market rallies, this country's really going to feel the boom.
One even more.
That is if he's able to do what Waters is saying here. Okay? That's if he's able to do that. Remember, the Navy is basically escorting tankers, oil tankers, back and forth through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? That's what they're doing right now. All right? That depends on if Iran, it depends on if Iran folds. It all depends on that. And if he can't get Iran to fold, then we're in a world of trouble. We're in a world of trouble. So you got the Navy escorting tankers back and forth right now. But for how long? How long is that going to be? How long will that be effective? Right? Like I said, I got a lot of questions about this. And of course, only time will tell. At the end of the day, only time will tell. Yes, we are strong. Our military is nothing to play with. I've said that since day one, since the initial attack, right? But there's something I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and again, he says any day now that the war will be over, that the war is coming to an end. We'll see. Hey, let me tell you this too. If Jesse Waters, if I got his name right, if Jesse Waters or Waters says, if what he says it actually comes to fruition, right? I'll be incredibly impressed. I will. I think we all would be. If it's like, whoa, our country will definitely feel the golden age or the golden era that he's been talking about, right? Economy would be at an all-time high. There'd be no wars going on. Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine and Russia getting along or finding peace, and the country, the world just getting along in some sort of way. That would be amazing. But I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I just don't see it. Not in the way that, because here's the thing, you're still, even if they were able to do that, you'd still have one individual or a group of individuals, a country pissed off. And they would be sitting there plotting their plan of retaliation from this point on. So there wouldn't really be peace on earth. There really wouldn't be a huge change. Sure, we might feel an economic change ourselves, but at the same time, we still have Iran saying death to America. You see what I'm saying? And then we're just back to the same crap again. We're back to the drawing board all over again. So again, what Waters put kind of laid out sounds, great, wonderful, great, fine and dandy. But that's not what the reality is here. You got a country that's pissed off. I just don't see it. I just don't see it getting wrapped up and everything being peaceful in the next day or two. But here's the thing. Anything's possible. Maybe we do. Maybe America does beat Iran into submission to the point where they just can't, or they take out the new Ayatollah or the, Ayatollah Jr. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I feel like it would have to be a lot more people losing their lives before anything gets straightened and done right. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some of these super chats here really quick. Beth, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And just like Beth, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Please consider becoming a member, just like Beth. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. That'd be greatly appreciated. Rich Buddy, thank you so much. Oil reached $120 per barrel this morning. Yeah, we just heard that in the in that news clip. That's insane. Forcing the Dow Jones to drop 1,000 points until the price recovered at 95 per barrel. But you realize that's the reason why he went on that press conference and he talked to the people. He talked to media and everything because he's like, listen, everything's going to be fine. We're going to be all right. This is just a bump. This is just a small little speed bump. It's not a road sign. It is a speed bump. We're going to be just fine, right? And then notice with that, the change in the market, right? So interesting, right? I mean, that's why I feel like that's the sole reason why he did that press conference. But I feel he was also talking out his ass. I'm telling you, okay? I'm telling you, he was talking out his ass, in my personal opinion. Small-minded. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Oil went from 120 to 85 a barrel, okay? $85, 120 all the way down to $85 a barrel in 2 hours. That don't make sense. It doesn't. But it does all at the same time. Because again, as soon as Trump spoke and he said, war is going to stop, we're going to be escorting all tankers up and down the Strait of Hormuz, then suddenly things started to change. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Small-minded again, or wait till troops start mobilizing. I still think that's going to happen here soon, but we'll see. If they say that Iran's navigation, their communications, etc., are down, I guess only time will tell. But I know for a fact that if troops are sent over, it's going to be a very slow trickle. It's not like he's going to go, we're sending over 300,000 troops all in one sitting. Huge situation over there in Iran. He's not going to do it like that. He's going to do it in small trickles. Okay? Small little trickles. Trust and believe. Tina, thank you so much for being a member for so long. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Renee, thank you so much again, all the way from Australia. Thank you so much for covering this in a way that is easier to understand. By the way, your Aussie accent is getting better. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate that. You know, we've been out here working on it, when we get time. Okay. Thank you so much. 36330 Charlton. Thank you so much for the love. There's a hole in the bottom of the sink. Marching Candace. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah. Wild. But yeah. So guys, here's the thing. I told you guys this would be a shorter show. Tomorrow I'll have a bunch of other shows for you guys for sure. But I got to wrap it up and all that. Okay. Again, what's tomorrow going to bring? I don't know. But this was day 10. We had just finished day 10. They're walking into day 11 right now as we speak in this war in Iran. There was a 12-day war that Trump was very proud of. I just don't think we're going to have another 12-day war. But again, wilder things have happened. Those B-2 bombers that are sitting there just chilling, waiting on standby to be deployed to possibly drop some serious explosives onto the likes of Iran could be a whole game changer. Like I said, Ayatollah Jr. could literally be beaten into submission. And one only thing that needs to happen is maybe a massive attack. But we'll see what happens. Okay? We will definitely see what happens. Anyway, that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Okay, do me a favor before we head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button there. Subscribe here to my YouTube channel, please and thank you. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it's random. Okay? Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out, PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your night. And until then, be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.